Hello everybody, we're going to be looking at a new addition to my Evangelion merch collection today, the Asuka Shikanami Desktop Army model. Now, this is actually a model kit, something I wasn't really aware of when I pre-ordered the thing. I'm not really sure about the Desktop Army range, it's something I'm not aware of. My first experience, seeing it was seeing the pre-orders for this go up on AmiAmi, and I thought, oh, that looks really cool, I'll pre-order that, and many months later, it has arrived. I've also pre-ordered a Shinji one, that should be coming soon. So what you get here, you get an El Chibi Asuka figure, and a Chibi Unit 2 to build, and the Unit 2. You got like the armour for Asuka there as well, and the Unit 2 kind of comes with a few different accessories there, what you'd usually get with a model kit, really. It's a really nice, small little model kit. I don't know how long it'll take to build. When I opened up, there was quite a few parts in there, but I don't really think something this size will take that long. It's not like the other Gundam sort of model kits or Eva model kits I've got. So let's open it up and I'll show you what we actually have in here. So I got this from AmiAmi. It cost me about £60 to £70, I think, to get it all imported. That was also with the delivery costs. So what we'll do is we'll get the model kit out. So I've been wanting to kind of feature a model kit on this channel for a while, and I was never really sure how to do it. Should I do like a live build or a time-lapse thing? I think what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to show you the individual kind of parts and how these things would go together. Then I'm going to build it off camera, take photos for my website, and then I will record the end result and show you that. So this is the instruction manual. So for anyone who's kind of interested in getting model kits, don't be put off by the fact that, these are coming from Japan and the instructions are in Japanese. They're usually really, really easy to put together. It's all pictographic. You don't really need to understand much Japanese at all. It's all about matching, numbers and letters together. Even for the stickers, you can kind of see the system they use. I'm not quite sure which alphabet they use for it, either the katakana or hiragana, but it's all very well signposted, very easy to put together. I'll show you the instructions in a moment, but the actual parts themselves for this, what you tend to have is a sort of, plastic shell like this with the individual components of the model kit kind of around there. You cut them out, sort of maybe sand them off if need be, and then you put them together according to the instructions. It's really, really simple stuff. So if you are intrigued by it and you have the opportunity to buy one when you're out and about at a convention or you see them online, go ahead and give it a go. It's a really fun little hobby. I do need to get into it a lot more than I have done. So I can kind of see here. With the bigger model kits, what you usually get is really big these sort of big plastic containers, and they'll be lettered. And you sort of match up letters and numbers. So what we'll do is we'll get out the Asuka. Place my head. So the Asuka you don't have to put together, and that's her there. So you can see she's really, really small. You get a replacement head for her, which has her without the eye patch, and there's also a detachable kind of breastplate there. Let's see if I can get that back in focus. Yeah, so you got like this detachable breastplate, which is pretty easy to put on, and not when you're doing it through the lens of a phone camera. But yeah, and you can sort of see the points of articulation she has, and it's for a very, very small model, it's quite well articulated. Yeah, so that'll be kind of what sits in our Unit 2 when we eventually build it. And just to kind of show you what we're dealing with, that's all the individual bags we've got there to put this model kit together. You can see there's quite a lot of bags there. I don't really anticipate it being too difficult to put this one together. It looks like it'll be quite a simple build, but usually with these things you'll get a bigger box and all the components will be on the bigger plastic containers. So I'll show you the instructions. As you can sort of see there, we've got the Asuka there, and so this sort of tells you how to put together this like lance weapon, B1 and B2. So they're joined by K1 and K2. See there. So the lens itself is B1 into B3 and B2 into B3. And I'm trying to think where that goes there. It looks like it's her legs or something, but yeah. Really not that difficult to put these things together. And then as for the actual Unit 2 model itself, you kind of see we just look for, step 1, look for numbers 5, 3 and 6. They go together. And put B9, B10 into 1, and so on and so forth until you've built the various components for it. So it looks like this section here is sort of that part of the head, then that's sort of the neck rest, and we get possibly the chest, and then yeah, it builds up gradually until you have your full Evangelion Unit 2 there, with the cockpit, and you can seat her inside it. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and build it, and then I will rejoin you again once it's fully built to show off the actual model itself. Well, welcome back everyone, and we're done. We've got the model, as you can see, mostly complete. I still need to kind of attach the various limbs, but I thought I'd actually do that on camera. And while I was doing that, I guess I'd just talk about my experience with this particular model kit itself. So let's just go through the various components for what we got here that we had to build up. So there you go, Unit 2's head and the kind of chest section. And when this is built up, we'll be able to place the Asuka figure inside there like that. So that shouldn't be too tricky. Oh, Asuka's chest plate fell off there. It's not what you want, is it? What am I trying to do? It's all just falling apart there. Right, so that's done. We got the arms. So these are actually let's talk about that a bit more. We'll talk about the detail on it. So one of the things I did like about this is I didn't have to put the stickers on myself. That's always a really fiddly process I find with any model kits, and I think it's something that comes with practice and having the right equipment. I found it, we've got a good pair of tweezers and that kind of helps, but there were no stickers for this. So you can see a sort of paint job on there. It's good. There's a few little sections that you can see there where it's kind of faltered a little bit, but it's mostly good. I mean, it's recognisable, isn't it? The articulation, pretty decent here. These will be where the arms go. And yeah, there's like the cockpit section there in the back where we can put additional attachments on. So as I was showing you the arm, so this is the inside of the arm, but these are both kind of identical. Now there's two types of hand you get with this. You get one that's like a closed fist, which will be to carry this prop, and you get more open hand type deal there. So these, you can move that, you can sort of move that back and forth, which feels a little bit awkward, because you can see that actually keeps happening, so it's not the strongest there. But again, you've got quite a good bit of detail there on the metal work and the imagery, the logos there, and the colours. The other arm is the same. We've got these sort of additional little components to go on there. I think these are meant to be sort of controls that Asuka holds while she's in there. And finally we've got the leg. So again, you got your points of articulation there, you got your paint work. So it's a really nice kind of chibi take on Evangelion Unit 2. So let's actually pop these parts together. So I'm just going to quickly consult the instructions, see if there's a preferred order for it. There isn't. So let's just go. So we'll pop the leg in. And part of the reason I wanted to do this bit, I wanted to you kind of see for yourselves maybe how awkward it was or wasn't. Kind of get like a live thing in there. Because sometimes, yeah, there you go. So sometimes these things can be a bit more awkward than you expect. And that is no exception there. It's sort of the case with anything like this. Once you have one on one side, it becomes a touch harder to get it all in there, and I am sort of struggling with that. Yeah, let me move that away from the camera. Let me see if I can clip that in properly, because I am actually genuinely struggling at this point to do that. So we finally got there with it. So for some reason, that particular leg was a lot harder to get in than the other one was, which is, sometimes you do get that little bit of awkwardness with it, but there you have it anyway. So it's now standing up, so let's hope the arms aren't quite as hard. Very similar principle for these, but that shouldn't be as bad. That's try and get that in there. God, these are a lot harder than I expect. There we go, that's one. So I'll get to that point where you think you've got to really sort of use a bit of effort to put that on there. but also you worry that you're going to start either breaking it or pushing some of the other parts out. So let's just put that one on as well. There we go, that one went on fine. So this side is more awkward than that side. Interesting. So there we have Unit 2 all built anywhere. So there's Unit 2 all built. So the next step is to put these little things in. They just go sort of clip onto there like that. And that one clips onto the same one. It's awkward doing this over the camera. Oh, and there you go. That's where the things start to fall apart a little bit, which is quite, as you can tell, irritating. There we go, just did a little jump cut there to push that back together. But the part of me actually did want to kind of take that out because it was irritating, but I thought, no, do you know what? I'll leave these little bits in so you can actually see sort of how fiddly some of these parts are, because, you know, I think it's important that if you are going to get into doing this stuff, you see kind of the reality of it, I guess, that it's not always the... not as simple as it looks. I mean, I did say at the start of this shouldn't be too tricky. And I guess I was kind of wrong with that. It was a bit trickier than I expected, and there was a lot more faff than I expected. So I'll go into why there was a bit more faff. Now, don't get me wrong. I really like this. However, if I was going to recommend it to someone interested in buying model kits, I'd maybe say get one of your standard Bandai model kits to begin with. Part of that was the instructions. I think I showed these off in the beginning. But what you see is every single bit is numbered. So 5, 3 and 6. Seems pretty simple, yes? B7, B8, all of that stuff. 9, 12. But then you'll notice like 29, 26, 33. And then down here we're getting 53 and 63. And down at these parts, 91, 84. So this model, usually with a model kit, what you'll get is, I think I've shown this again, you get something along these lines. And everything is numbered appropriately. Hopefully you can kind of see that. That's number 116. Now, usually what will happen is you'll get about 5 or 6 of these, and they'll be a lot bigger, and they'll contain quite a lot of parts on them. And it'll be... each one will have a letter in the corner, usually like A through to G or whatever, and it'll match it up there. So it's a bit easier to pick and choose. This just came with a lot of these sort of plastic containers with individual parts in that you had to cut out. So there were absolutely loads of these, and it was quite hard to sort through them. That was a lot of the time spent making this kit was spent just sorting through those parts. So for me, it was, a little bit frustrating, but for a first-time build of one of these things, I think that frustration would be doubled, because you're spending so much time just on that unnecessary kind of faff, I guess you could say. Which I think, you kind of want to eliminate that. You want to have a bit of a fun experience the first time you build this. And not to say it wasn't fun, but that was a little bit on the tedious side of things. The size of it being quite small actually did hinder it a little bit. Some of the parts were a little bit fiddlier. As you did see beforehand, I tried to put one part in and it fell apart a little bit, which you don't really want. You want to have the confidence that you're going to push these pieces together safely. And some of this might be down to the fact that whilst I have built many Gundam model kits in the past, or Eva model kits in the past, I'm not massively experienced with it. So it could be as much down to perhaps a user error as it is anything else, which I'm perfectly willing to stand up and concede. But that's also quite an interesting perspective, you know, if you yourself are new to it. So let's see if I can just say Asuka in here as well. So she actually fits in like that. See, she isn't quite fitting in there as well as I would have hoped, but there we go. Right, we've got her. So I think what we can probably do is we can sit that in there like that. And there we go. And that's it. That is the let's give it some let's give it the weapons as well. The swords. So and then we can lift that up there. So yeah, like I was saying, the overall experience of it, it was kind of fun to put together. I don't know if I'd recommend it to someone new at building these kits. I'd recommend you get yourself one of the biggest sort of like Bandai model kits. But if you are looking for a nice little chibi model kit that looks adorable, is Evangelion related, and will just sit in a nice small space on your desk, I think this is a really good addition to it. I'll definitely be looking forward to getting the Shinji one to see if the building process for that is any different, and go forward with, you know, maybe, you know, I can take what I've learned here, and I've got a few other model kits I'd like to build. That experience will help me out anything in any way. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Good model kit, a little bit tedious to put together due to the process. It looks nice, and looking forward to getting the next one. All in all, I'm happy with it, but like I say, do have a few issues. So with all of that said, thank you all very much for taking the time to watch this, for sticking with me and watching me faff on trying to put some of this together. Really do appreciate that. If you have any questions or comments, please pop them down below. Please do give this video a like, give me a subscribe if you want it, you know, if you like the content, and just let me know in the comments what you'd like to see more of. I've been meaning to get around to doing model kits or showcasing them, which I would definitely like to do more of. I've got a few Gundam Wing ones. You know, keen to do more retro gaming stuff. I recently did a video on the Mega Drive, go check that out. I did a video covering the Bloody Raw fan dub, go check that out. And I hope to have more Ava stuff coming in the future. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the future.